Good morning, Julie.
Good morning, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Getting ready to sport today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're playing in the celebrity baseball game for Bess Bukowski and
Joyful Journey.
Joyful Journey. That's right.
Yeah.
We'll make sure there's a link in here so if people want to donate. What does Joyful Journey do?
Adult day services. So kind of mainly for people elderly, right? But mainly for people to kind of get a little respite. So if they are a caretaker of a parent, they can, talk to Joyful Journey, and they usually work with people with a little bit of memory care stuff as well. But they love to have new friends join them and, make that process a little bit easier for everybody.
Well, that's a little near and dear to your heart right now, right?
Yeah.
You've been dealing with some things with elderly parents, and I'm getting elderly, so, it's a little close. You weren't with me last week.
Yes, I was.
Was it last? Oh, was it the week before that Nurav joined? Okay, but it was last week when I made you the promise to spin up a dashboard and walk through. Yes, I have said some words that we cannot say, or else YouTube will downgrade us this morning as I was trying to finish that. So it's important to show that AI doesn't always do exactly what you want it to do, and sometimes you have to iterate with it a little bit before you can get the answers you're looking for.
Interesting. Okay.
So, shall we go through those things? Do you remember what you told me was like the bottlenecks or the pains in your processes?
Yeah.
Would you
The
like to read
prospecting, the back end, putting in orders, those kind of things. Yeah.
Right. So I took that right after we got done, and I gave it to Claude and to ChatGPT Codex and had it use some Claude agents and do some research and generate some best practices. And then I got busy and left. And then this morning, about 20 minutes ago, I was like, oh, damn, did I ever finish that dashboard? So I found the conversation again, and I was like, okay, here's a picture you can add to the dashboard, create a dashboard and present it to me. And here's their website. So make it nice and on brand and everything. So we can present this morning. And I'm going to go through the three iterations of dashboards. I want to just kind of show you what it came up with. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with my share screen. So it's beautiful. It's on brand. Got the picture of you and your bestie there.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Yes, Shelby. Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to tell you what this is talking about. I just want you to look at it and see if it makes any sense to you.
You just got to trust the dang process. Not you. Don't you say that?
Maybe.
About the credit, what changed because of it? I don't know what that is. I can't see, it's on my phone. So I'm like,
It says a confident dashboard can still mistake correlation for causation. Real comparison measures what would have happened without marketing. Then we get down here to the ads looked effective until eBay turned them off. Like, I have no clue what the F it's talking about here.
Yeah.
The branded keyword ads. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right. So source capture, response path, time series, local sweet spot, hold plus MM. Okay. None of that makes any sense to me.
Yeah.
Which I told it. And so it generated a new one. Joel just gave us two questions. Where exactly is what you set out to here's exactly what you set out to answer. There's no way to prove it works, right? Like somehow I picked that up as I gave you the transcript. So then I gave you the transcript after the first dashboard. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Here's the transcript. What did she ask? What were we going to answer? The second one, why is radio important, was the final question that you ask. Who received credit? Useful reporting, vulnerable correlation. So it's again on the whole like radio versus AI debate, I think.
Interesting.
This is where you talk about context engineering that people have talked about, right? That oftentimes it's not the tool's fault, it's not our fault. It's the communication between the human and the tool and being too vague. So we probably talked for about 55 minutes last week. I threw that transcript at it and said, figure out what she's asking and what we should be answering. And it highlighted the questions you had about AI slop or AI validation, AI hallucination, and the importance of radio. It still has this eBay stuff that I don't know. Did you talk about eBay?
Not at all. I don't.
It may be going into its memory and comparing something. I don't talk about eBay though. So radio combines four things that are increasingly rare: broad reach, free access, local connection, and resilient public communication. So there, it was answering your final question there. So I got kind of upset at this point in time. And you can see, I won't say it out loud, but you can see my prompt is, this is another epic failure. Julie described her daily work process. I promised her I would show her where AI could help alleviate some of the things she's doing. I have no effing clue what you're trying to show me here. I mean, I'm not highly recommending that you get upset with your AI, but that sometimes we get frustrated. So if you do, like, you're not alone.
Right.
So let's see what it did with the final dashboard, which it spit out like 2 seconds before we got on here. Hopefully third time's the charm. Let me get to the right window because I always have 25 windows open. Okay. Still a great picture of you and Shelby Ward. Now it's saying, I'm going to take this conversation and have some recommendations on how AI might help you offload some of the stuff you don't like doing and explore some of the stuff you haven't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
One relationship moves through 5 stages. Find a business, build the prospecting list, and identify who may be a fit. Hold the CNA, learn the client's needs, goals, barriers, and opportunities, build a proposal, turn discovery into recommendations and presentations, enter the order, translate and approve the plan into schedule and digital orders, invoice and serve, handle the paperwork. So I think it's saying that you could pass, once you find a business, if you gave it this process that you wanted it to do, it could automate all of that.
Okay.
Based on your standards.
Mm-hmm.
Invoicing and putting back into the order stuff and building prospecting list, businesses, contacts, infos, fit the reason to reach out, research, layout, turning, let's see. AI should remove desk work, not remove Julie. Generative AI, public research, organization notes, first drafts, repetitive data preparation, completeness checks, formatting, and follow-up. Julie keeps CNA conversations, client trust, strategic judgment, creative recommendations, final approval, relationships, and every promise that you made to the client. So you could automate the research, capturing and processing the organizational notes, the first drafts of outgoing emails or communication, repetitive data preparation, completeness checks, formatting, and follow-up questions. That was the answer that we were really looking for.
Right.
Stop building contract lists, start arriving prepared. Before a meeting, search, copy, paste, repeat. Find a business, find contact information, guess whether they fit, start every cold call. That's before. With AI, you could have a 1-page prospect brief, business and decision maker, recent public signals, likely marketing opportunity, why Q1067 may fit, 5 CNA questions worth asking. So you could generate a skill that would generate that every time you stuck a business into it. That would probably save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Then you would still choose who to call on. You begin with a context instead of a blank page. Talk first, let AI organize the thinking. So this is you verbally communicating using something like whisper flow. What does success mean for the client? What barriers could stop it? What remains unknown? These are the questions that, what are the next steps? What follow-up questions should I ask? Who am I not thinking about? So if you took that one-page prospecting asset that we were just talking about, this one-page prospecting brief, and uploaded it to ChatGPT, then you could start saying, hey, what would success look like for this client? Base it on research, not just guesses. What barriers could stop it? What signals are out there? What remains unknown about this client that I still need to look into? What should be the next steps? What follow-up questions should I ask? That you could give the transcript from the first conversation and say, what follow-up questions should I ask? What am I not thinking about? I find that to be a very valuable prompt.
No.
In this case, AI returns a client brief: goals, audience, evidence, risk, unanswered questions, comments, and recommended next actions. The proposal begins with Julie, what Julie already knows: structured CNA, client public website, your PowerPoint template, Claude Designer, ChatGPT, create the first draft, tailored narrative, recommended mixed media, branded visual direction, missing information flags, and speaker notes. You edit and approve. Then the approved proposal is turned into, validate. So flag missing dates. That's okay. Then once you approve it, it's going to carry that information forward so that you don't have to rebuild it every step. The prospecting brief, it's going to turn it into one actual presentation for you that is on brand. And then you have more time for conferences, networking, meeting new people, building community, exploring podcasts, books, or manual time with your bestie, Shelby Ward.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that is a lot more what I was looking for.
Yeah. The first two were misunderstanding.
Yes. So what are your thoughts? Does any of that resonate with you? Would any of that be useful to you?
Yeah, it would be. And there are some things I currently do, like some of that it does do for me, but I don't have I don't have it, trained because I refuse to pay for any of it. So, you know.
Okay, here's my Julie challenge from all of this. I'm going to set up a $20 a month account I'm going to pay for 1 month, and I'm going to send you this HTML and a prompt to get you started. And if you will play with it for a month, I will pay for it.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Okay.
It's interesting. It'd be interesting, because again, I utilize some tools now for some of the research. I do have a free account that I've plugged in like my standard marketing guide, which is just specific things that I'm looking for on a certain company to be able to open the conversation. And it does remember that every time I go in. So I'll say, please plug in a marketing guide for X company.
Well, you already have it set up then, so I'm just going to send you the credit card information to put on for $20 for 1 month, and then you can either cancel it or switch it to your own card.
Okay.
We will call it an AGI podcast experiment.
Okay. It would be an experiment because,
And you can tell our audience all about it as we go through the month.
Yeah, I have not used it for creating proposals, right? Like that. I tried, was that like a year ago maybe? And I got frustrated because it was like, no, move this. You had to be like so particularly accurate. And I'm like, it'd be easier for me to just go in and move it myself than to sit here and go, no, that's not right. Please move it, quarter of an inch to the left.
Yeah, you have to get your template down, and you have to not be overly picky. This is Oliver and I used to have this conversation. I created a Claude skill when I was at Citizen AI that when we were going to go out to a company for a discovery call, it would build like several pages, including a little cartoon of one of their clients, like using the Citizen AI app, and on their brand, like information page, frequently asked questions page, this and that, right? And so this packet would, I would assume, take, if you were using Canva, a good 2 to 3 hours per client. Once I build the skill, I could do it in 2 minutes and 2 seconds in Claude. I would just say, it was a project and with a skill, and I would just say, here's the website, build it, and it would build it. And Oliver would go through it and be like, no, this line's a little off, or that line's a little, and yes, you're right. But not to the point that you're the only person that notices, Oliver. The client is not going to give a shit. They're going to be so impressed that there's on-brand, beautiful marketing stuff. Now, if it says that they're located on Main Street and they're on Tippecanoe, that will make a difference to them. But whether or not one image is here or there, like, you're the only one who cares, and you're spending a lot of time, and I'm not going to go back in here and iterate on this 15 times. Like, if you want to play with it, you go right ahead. I know you're my boss. I'm sorry, but either we print it like this, or you fix it, because that's not how AI works. It isn't worth your time to be finitely, like, the details matter where they matter, but not everybody has a graphic marketer's eye and picks apart everything that you lay in front of them. And I'm not saying this to you. I'm just saying, like, in general, you have to figure out what that exchange is if you want tools.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I know it's come a long way, in all honesty, in the last year, because that was, when I'm saying I needed to move it, it's because like the image was like covering information, right? So it's like, I had to figure out that. And so, because I'm the same way. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a person that is going to get like upset that something is a little too whatever, but it was like hiding information at that point. And I'm like, ugh. But again, it was a year ago. And, I understand. And are these images coming out as well as Canva like produces them when you're using Claude?
ChatGPT, image gen.
Oh,
Like, I would stick with ChatGPT. I was using Claude because it was what we used internally, and it was our tool. But if a lot of times that was the one thing I would do, is I would say, okay, I would take it over to ChatGPT and say, now make this look better. Because at the time, Claude was not good at all with design. It has gotten a lot better, but still, ChatGPT Image Gen 2.0 is absolutely phenomenal at generating images. I mean, if you look at that what that Hotmail that I spent up for him, and it looks nice. It's on brand. It's got Q1067 colors to it, right? I pointed it to that photograph of you and Shelby, but I could have said, put sombreros on both of you, and it were just as clear, but you would have both had sombreros on, and it would have had to generate that image. Takes a little bit longer. I find some of the better image generators take a little bit longer to generate those images, but like all of the thumbnails for the podcast are all generated through ChatGPT. I mean, all I do now is we have a standing thumbnail for the Weekly Blitz, right? But for the other ones where I interview people, all I do is take one of the screenshots that Riverside takes of me talking to that guest and give it to a project in ChatGPT and say, here's the transcript and here's the picture, and that's all I tell it, and it creates Spotify show notes, YouTube show notes, looks up all the URLs for connections for everything that we mentioned, for the guest description, the thumbnail and landscape, a square, and Instagram vertical. I mean, it just does all that while I'm off doing something else.
Nice. Now, how is your new journey going? How's your new, I think I saw a yoga pose photo the other day on LinkedIn for your chakra. How's all that going?
It is going phenomenal. I love
Good.
working with this company. I got my first gig consulting with some Catholic junior high schools with my company as well. So I'll be doing that in November, in October 2nd, a full day training with teachers and administrators from the Catholic schools in Indianapolis on how to leverage Gemini and Google Workspace in the school. So I love that. I got my first, I don't know, do you know Nathan Hedrick?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's my first individual client that I'm doing like one-on-one consulting on, and I have decided to go a totally different route than most of the people who are trying to do AI consulting for individuals. They want to build workflows for people. Like, hey, what's a pain in the butt for you, Nathan? Okay, let me use Claude and N8N or one of these workflow, and then I'll give you a process, and then I'm gonna have to go back and fix it when it breaks. Or you're gonna have to figure out, or the technology is gonna get a hell of a lot better in 2 months, and it's gonna be like, oh, you could do this easier and cheap. So I don't want to teach people I don't want to build stuff for people. I'm not a software engineer. I'm not going to pretend to be a software engineer. What I want to do is give me 10 sessions, give me 8 sessions. Let's just sit down. Let me teach you how to use these tools, not through copy and paste through the browser. Let me teach you how to use Claude Code and ChatGPT Codex, and you will be able to do all this stuff for yourself going forward. You will be able to figure. And so he just told me the other day, it was great, that he's like on fire. He's loving it. He's in there. He's doing it. He's like, this is so amazing. I have so many ideas I'm testing. I'm like, that's what I want. That warms my heart more than money. Is like, I just want to empower people to say, what could I do with this? And they will naturally keep up with the technology as they come up with things that they might need to do in business that it allows them to do.
Kind of teach a man to fish. Teach a man to fish, not a fish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's kind of on the personal side. And then with Chakra, like, oh man, we're diving in. We're getting ready to have our launch event coming in October at a winery, and we're going to have a whole bunch of the public there. The whole team is starting to become more collective, and we just got 2 more Mac Minis. So I have 3 Mac Minis now. One is going to be, so there's actually an agent employee. It's the first agent employee that I've ever created. So we have a project in Claude that has like all of the knowledge of our company. It is like the central source of truth for the company. And so I said, well, why don't we give it a Gmail account? Why don't we give it permissions in Slack and HubSpot and everything? Now that we have Claude Code and Cowork and it can actually navigate things, we actually sent it through the Anthropic training for how Anthropic wants things done and got it certified, and then put it on the Mac Mini. And now it is like a digital employee that helps us. So inside that Mac Mini, I use Codex and it uses Claude, and we can both operate in there and communicate with each other via Slack, and I can help it do things for the company, like optimize our HubSpot or inform other employees on our marketing and branding ideas. They can become like the brain that they ask for anything that they want to do. Now we have 2 more Mac Minis. One of them is going to be, I'm going to download an open source model like people have been talking about, and I'm going to start saying 2 things. One is, can we use a router? So you have all these open source, there's foundation models and there's open source tools, right?
Mhm.
Foundation models are expensive as hell, but they work really well. These open source tools, like, we're not going to use any Chinese ones, but we are going to use an American one. Like, if we use these open source tools, can we kind of A/B test how much of our workflow that we're doing currently, chunk by chunk, we kind of take a look at it. Like, how much of this workflow could we run through open source tools at a tenth the price, and it still be both efficient, like actually give us the right output, and easy for our employees to navigate, right? Because if all of a sudden you have to have like hyper technical, or at least if you have to be like a LLM super user in order to use these open source tools, then they're kind of a waste of money, unless just the couple people in our office are using them who are like that.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that I'm going to tell it is, okay, let's reimagine work in here. Let's forget about automating how humans do things, which is just speeding up the way we've always done things. Let's just A/B test, or let's pilot like different ways of getting the same outcome we're trying to get, where a human AI hybrid workflow may look very different from a standard workflow. My ideal goal is, I love sticky notes and whiteboards and post-its, right? If I could just walk around all day, have it being recorded, take pictures of the boards and stuff, and then my computer's capturing all that, and then all the work happens agentically from the ideas that we talk about and the processes we say we want to bring to life, and I don't sit behind a computer screen anymore, that would be amazing.
Interesting.
So that is going to be kind of the little test area for that. And then the third one we're going to kind of share. So Adam and I both have always wanted to explore video production. Even if you know what you're doing, even with AI tools, is very time consuming, and it used to be very expensive, right? So what we've done now is we're looking at, there's a MiniMax. I said no Chinese, but on this one model, there's going to be. There's an open source MiniMax new model. I think it's called the H3. That is, if you download it and put it on a machine and run it, it's a cost almost nothing to run. It's extremely slow, right? But the idea is, could we just run it 24/7 in loops, generating videos, and check in on it once in a while and steer it? Nah, that's not exactly what I was looking for. I was thinking more about like, move it this way, and just so like have this ongoing video studio for things like, I would love to create stuff for K-6 kids that is like, again, like the Schoolhouse Rock idea and how a transformer became an LLM, some micro dramas, some marketing stuff, like just playing around with a kind of an AI video studio that is more hands off than me spending, a week inside of these tools and $1,000 trying to figure out if I'm any good at AI video generation.
Interesting. Our next marketing roundtable, we're honing in on video marketing. So
Next year, maybe I'll be in a space to come and talk about my discoveries on that.
Yeah, maybe it'll be interesting because I'll have to take notes on both things to see what the feedback is. It's interesting because they're very different. He's been doing video production for 14 years or something like that, so I'm sure it's a lot faster for him than like you or I, right? But
it is a serious skill set, and
it is.
there are people who are leaning into using AI tools who are like production level people who are getting great results, and then there are some new like YouTuber type people who are really generating some valuable content, and then there's a whole shitload of slop. So, the last, if I can fine tune it to get rid of the slop, that's what I have trouble with the writing too. I'm just going through like trying to optimize some of my systems, and I'm like, no matter how hard I try, no matter how many pages of markdown I give you, showing you examples of my writing, examples of your writing, examples of AI slop, the minute that I tell one of these large language models that it is for a social media post, they just switch into what they perceive to be influencer mode. And I was thinking about this morning. I don't think they understand that those influencers don't have all the following they have because the way they say things, they pay to play.
Hmm.
Those people pay to get their initial followers, right? They invest lots of money into becoming influencers. I'm not ever going to do that. All I want to do is tell stories to my small audience of people who care as though I'm talking to them.
Right.
And so if I can get the writing to sound like that, then the next step is, can I get the video to sound? Because I have a feeling the minute you say this is for any type of marketing or any type of release in public, it's going to automatically flip it into the kind of language that we all consider AI slop, that I think it thinks this is how your influencers talk. This is how
Yeah.
Kylie Jenner would generate a video.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think we're seeing I think we're headed towards the downward spiral of the influencer bubble. You know what I mean? Like, because of AI and because of, all that kind of fun stuff. So
I think we're headed towards a lot of a lot of adjustments and things. Like there definitely seems to be a strong mistrust of media, of influencers, of politicians, of big business. So I I think you and I said when we originally started this podcast and we were still on audio, I
Hmm.
think remember us talking about like maybe this will disrupt the bullshit machine that currently exists. And that may not be fun for a minute, but maybe it will cause us to reconsider where how we validate the information we get and what we value in media in general.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, it's at a boiling point. I think all it feels like it's at a boiling point for a lot of these things. In that last roundtable, the conversation was kind of around everybody feels like all social media is these days is everybody trying to sell something. So it's like we're all tired of being sold to. We're all tired of not being able to afford the things we're being sold. Like it's a real, and we want real facts, real news. It's very interesting.
Yes, I could
Um,
not agree more. Like I can't. My buddy Harrison posted something that like a post with the F just effing stop, and he had like a red line through effing right on link. And I wouldn't normally ever share something like that on LinkedIn, but I did because you know what it was about? It was about people who who send you a connection, and the second you click into it, they solicit you. And
yeah.
financial services people are the worst at it. But I'm
Mhm.
like, does this ever work? Like, why would you just immediately say software people are horrible at it too, especially from overseas? Hey, I see what you do. Cool. I'm
Oh
the
yeah.
software person. Do you need my help? No, dickhead. I wouldn't work for AI company if I needed a Indian software engineer for everything that I do. I probably have connections I can do this kind of stuff, even if I can't do it myself, right? But why don't
Yeah.
you just strike up a conversation like, oh, I see we're both working on this. How's this going for you? Like solicitation, it makes me want to vomit.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it very much has that feel of have you ever done a vacation at an all-inclusive resort
No.
out of the okay. And I love, like, hear me out on this. I love it and I'm okay with it. But culturally, there's differences, right? And there's multiple places that I've been where once you're on that resort, then all day long, even when you land at the airport, like people are just trying to sell you something, sell you something, sell you something. Like it feels like that. It's like, oh, stop.
Yep. Yes.
Stop. Yeah.
That is so annoying. And that's I have, you know, I tell this to professionals that I work with when they go to networking meetings. I'm like, don't try to sell your product the whole time you're there, your services, your company. Like I guarantee I know. I've been around you. Like Q1067 can do this for you does not come out of your mouth
Right.
very often at all.
Yeah.
Organic interest in who they are, what they're doing, what's up in their lives, and eventually, organically, at some point in time, there may come a point in the conversation where they have a pain point that Q1067 could help them alleviate, and it becomes a natural part of the conversation. I mean, that I don't understand how that 101 it seems to be eluding 90% of people online and at least 50% of people in person.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And I do think it's a little bit of that like keyboard warrior kind of thing, right? Like you're less afraid when you're behind the keyboard from 45 minutes away or whatever it is. You're just like, oh, because I agree. I get a lot of those on LinkedIn. I'll get a lot of that. Facebook also get a lot of that. And it's like, okay, let's all calm down. But you're much braver, right? You're not. But you're right. That has been lost, in person too. But that's why I really enjoy things. I think Connectors does great. I think most people that show up there are there to genuinely connect and see, how can we help each other out? At least that's how it feels right now. And that's how it feels to me. But you're right. It's a skill that is kind of a little blurry right now.
Well, I think GLC does a good job of that at Rise and Shine too, and this may be
Mhm.
something that other events could do, which is like there is a scheduled time for that. There is a like 10-minute period where you all walk around and exchange business cards, and like it's like, okay, out of the hour and a half we're here, here's your 10-minute solicitation period, which frees you up the other hour and 20 minutes to just actually communicate with one another.
Communicate with one another. Yeah. Have a good time. Learn some new things. Hear what's going on in the community. All that stuff. I agree. Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
I have a feeling on LinkedIn AI is just going to make it worse.
Yeah. I would agree.
And
I would
and
agree.
I think we just focus on the wrong things. Again, like and my buddy Harrison is funny because he gets a lot of slack on LinkedIn from people like, oh, the AI, this, I don't ever. And I intentionally, I put a post out the other day about the Mac Minis, and I was like, the first image in this post was generated by AI, and it's exactly what I asked it to create, and I love it. Like, I'm just like inviting those people, because I do think that there is like this idea of it's the same thing in education. It's not that the tool shouldn't be used. It's how are you using the tool? Are you using the tool to auto-generate solicitations every time someone accepts an invitation to connect? Well, then you
Right.
are just using the tool to perpetuate pissing people off, right? Are you a small business who does not have the money to hire a marketing team, and you're using the tool to generate marketing content that you otherwise would have either had to invest a bunch of time in a tool like Canva or would not have had at all? Then good for you. Like, who cares if it resonates with you? If it looks good, then who cares if they use AI? Why are we burning witches? It's the same thing in education. Like, are the kids learning more from it? I guarantee you that MiniMax, right? Yes. Initially, it is going to just generate video content, and I'm going to lazily check in on it once in a while. And then it's going to generate something that I kind of like. And I'm going to be like, huh, I wonder how to make that a little bit better. And the next thing you know, a year from now, I'm going to know how to generate video content using AI very well because I started playing with it. It piqued my interest and I learned how to do it. I knew nothing about any of this computer stuff 3 years ago. I've
Yeah.
not gotten dumber because I've been using AI. I've
Right.
learned a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't know anything about, and I wouldn't have known anything about if I didn't start exploring it.
Yeah. Well, and you and I have talked about this over and over in different forms. It's everybody's different and everybody, you can't use generalization statements and say everybody's going to get dumber because that's not true. We don't know that, right? You also can't say everybody's going to elevate themselves because that's not true either. Somewhere in the middle, stuff's going to fall apart. And we are, as a society, much more consumers than creators. So, it's interesting. I would hope that we could find a way to create more, like you're saying, you know what I mean? But that's all TBD.
It is. I guess we would be remiss if we didn't touch on the data center conversation before we left, because that one's is it? I mean, it is in my feeds, but I know all my feeds are AI related. It sounds to me like the conversation's getting heated up around the country and it's starting to bleed into general media.
It does feel that way. I think this Northwest Indiana power outage, including, unfortunately Gary has been like one of the hardest hit, and data centers being there, and it's stirring up a lot of conversation. And Indiana is kind of in the hot seat because we are very data center friendly. And what do you do? Because you've got people that have been without power for 11 days now, 11 or 12 at this point. And yet we want to, and we're at like 98% of like grid usage. And yet we want to be tax friendly to data centers, which are going to eat up more power. It's interesting.
See, I didn't even know about that one,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I disagree with being tax friendly to data centers.
Right. I agree. Yeah. You and I are on the same page with that. I think it's crap. There's no benefit to being tax friendly.
There are communities who are leaning into. There's a community in Virginia that all their teachers got a $50,000 bonus for the year from the data center. And I mean, these data centers are starting to realize if we can put out as many stats as we want about how golf courses and almond farms use more water than we do, people don't give a damn. But if you give them some things in their community, if you freeze their energy costs for a decade, or you give them bonuses, or you build them parks, then they're a little bit happier about you coming, and they're more than willing to do it. The communities who are not leaning into that are morons, in my opinion. Like I'm not anti data center. I think you have to be pragmatic. You cannot be energy. I mean, Texas did this, and people were like, "What the hell is Abbott? I thought Abbott was pro data center." He's not anti data center. He's just saying, "Look, okay, now there's enough strain on our grid that before we approve any more data center builds, we need to assess how that's going to affect the energy in Texas, and do this in a way that does not end up devastating our state's energy grid." That's practical, right? That's not saying we don't have data centers here. That's just saying we're not just going to blindly open our arms to data centers because now we are popular for being a data center friendly place, and some of the billionaires are moving here. Well, that none of that's useful to Texas if they don't have energy in the houses of their civilians.
Yeah, and Indiana could take a note from that, because the other part of that conversation is people are pissed because NIPSCO is the energy company in that portion of Indiana, because Indiana's weird like that, and they have seemingly regional, almost monopolies, I would say, but like energy prices have gone up for people with NIPSCO in Northwest Indiana, where there are data centers, and it's an interesting conversation because there is no win for the people, and now they're again 11 days without power. I'm surprised you haven't heard about it. It is not pretty. And I have a friend whose parents who were out without power until, like last Sunday. Like it was over a week for them, and they're in their 80s without power. It's
That's
crazy.
It is. And I would say you just touched on something there. If you want to be pissed and you want to do some digging into the monopolies these energy companies have, right?
Yeah.
Because there are some of the overregulation. So I mean, you still have to take in the environmental effects. I don't agree with Elon either. Elon spun up those two Colossus data centers, brought in a bunch of gas generators, pretty much circumvented all of the environmental regulations in Tennessee, and then got Trump to say that the Department of Defense needed them, so they couldn't come after him for that's some BS right there, right? But again, there's two sides to the coin, like overregulation making it impossible to actually efficiently do this and expand the grid. These companies have not only billions of dollars, they have some really smart people. So why don't our energy companies open up to a partnership so that we can figure out how to build that grid out better, leveraging all these Silicon Valley brains and dollars, and get a win-win out of it, instead of it's just another monopoly. I do think, hell, when I went to the data center used to be at the Eastgate Mall in Indianapolis, surrounded by solar panels, right? And I'm like, wow, how much of the solar energy does this data center, does offsets the energy need of this data center? And they're like, oh no, we can't use it. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, oh no, the solar energy has to go to the energy company, IPL or whoever the hell it is, and then they get to send it back out. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So they can charge for it.
Yeah,
That's
so they can
crazy.
charge for it. So they get the cheap energy that the data center put up in solar panels around it in this police station that covers damn near 2 city blocks. It all goes to whatever energy company it is. I don't want to say it's IPL because I don't know, but whoever. And then they get to reallocate it and sell it back at more expensive price to the data center. And you telling me that the data center is the only person we need to have under the magnifying glass? I don't think so.
No, there are real issues that compound, right? So that is annoying to know.
It is.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I have coffee with the Google representative this week, who's in our state, trying to do some of this stuff. So it will be very interesting. I said to her at a conference, I heard her talk on a panel, and I was like, you should. I hope that you are aware of what Empire of AI, Karen Howe's book, says you guys promised South America and didn't follow through with, because I'm not a big enough jerk to raise my hand in a crowd like this and ask you how things are going to be different, but somebody may one of these days. So you should be ready for that question. And
Yeah.
she's, oh, I really appreciate that. And then we kind of got to talking, and so we're going to have coffee. It'll be interesting to see what Google's up to and what their plans. I'm not anti any of those companies. I'm just pro the consumer understanding how to leverage that and not get mowed over.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, people got to be included. It can't be all about business.
Well, and that's one of the problems that has been uncovered, that I know Microsoft has at least changes these data centers because they're taking in private data. There's data centers all over the place, right? Like, I don't think people realize when they watch Netflix, when they watch this podcast, like, data centers do all that. It's not just AI that they do. They've been around for a long time. We need a lot more of them with AI, right? But historically, they've done everything under NDAs with the public officials, non-disclosure, because they have proprietary ways in which they build these data centers, and they have proprietary data which they store. And so it's never been a problem, because nobody in the public has really cared if they put up a small data center to run Netflix or whatever. It was usually in an industrial area. Well, now they're starting to spread out. It's tying the hands of these local politicians. Let's just say you're in Thorntown, they're putting up a data center. Like, if the mayor of Thorntown can't talk to the citizens about what's going on with the data center because of an NDA, then that becomes really problematic for the public discussion. So there are definitely some things that have to get worked out on that front.
Yeah. Change has to come. We will see.
From Julie's workflow to data centers.
Yeah, that's right. That's usually about how it goes, right?
That's usually how it goes. I'm going to be in Lafayette Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday at the Purdue Event Design Lab. I've created some new design like agentic human design process that ties together. Can I tell you about this real quick, and then I'll let you go?
Sure.
So it starts with an ikigai, right? An ikigai is, what do you love? What are you good at? What do people need? What will they pay for? And so it's around this product guide, but it's who's your target audience. So I use some authors to kind of inform different processes in this. Like, instead of what do you love, like Seth Godin, like, who is your smallest tribe? Who's the smallest audience that what you're thinking about developing will resonate with?
Mhm.
Right. And then what are you good at is like Marcus Buckingham empowered. Like, what strengthens you? What do you love to do in relation to what this product or service you're going to be developing is? And what could you offload to AI that you don't like doing? What do people need is a full empathy map of that target audience. What are they seeing, hearing, thinking, feeling, doing? And then down on the what would they pay for is, what are their pains? What are their gains? And then that goes into a divergent, convergent MVP type canvas that starts with brainstorming with humans and then goes to, okay, what are the 5 ideas from here that you humans think might be the best minimum viable product or service towards what we're working on? And then AI does research and says, what does the research say these people actually need? Because that's one of the problems with the whole empathy mapping. When I've gone through design classes, is empathy mapping is great for putting yourself in the customer's shoes, but it can't replace discovery calls or customer research, right? So at least you can bring the AI in to say, okay, what's the signal from the noise? What does the actual research say these people need? Then you take that to a next step. And so it goes through all this, but it looks at every process from the eyes of Brene Brown, Simon Sinek, Suzuki Roshi at Beginner's Mind. Who else did I put in there? Marcus Buckingham, Steve Jobs, Johnny Ives, and John Doerr, who created OKRs. And it's meant to be either whiteboards on a wall with sticky notes, or I have one that I created in Claude Design that you could do as an app. And then there's an AI, you can use ChatGPT voice to help facilitate the whole thing as humans go through it and do the back end research.
Interesting. Yeah, I think so. Mm.
All right.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Let me know if you're around, or when you're around or whatever.
Yeah, I think I'm done there around noon. I don't have to be back in Indy till 3:30, so I don't know if you're open for lunch or
I'll have to check. I'll have to check my calendar.
check and let me know. Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All right.
And then next time we're on, we'll hear for. I'm going to send you that credit card information so that you can pay for your ChatGPT account and start playing with it.
Okay. All right.
right.
Sounds good. All
And
right.
I'll show you how to turn off the you can trade on my information in the settings so that to make sure it doesn't capture any of your data.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Sounds good.
Thanks for
See
joining
ya.
me, Julie.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason.
Have a great week. Hopefully I'll
You
have
too.
lunch Wednesday.
Yeah.